A huge shout out to the overthinkers. An overthinker. He watches the show. To the overthinkers. Shout out my friend too. Thank you, overthinkers.
Keep inspiring the next generation.
Shout out to the overthinkers. Tando, Pena, much love.
To my overthinkers,
I'm stealing that. I'm stolen that one. I've stolen it.
Are Coach Shorty, we don't overthink, we overachieve. Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is Mokwena. I'm your host, and this is a place where we love South African football. We love African football, and every now and then we go overseas and we love Europe. This is a show that happens every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. where we come together as fans, as people who are outside of football, and we get to speak about this game that we love. I give you a chance to come in. It's a very interactive show where you can join me by clicking on the multi-guest button on TikTok. So if you're watching on YouTube, get on over to TikTok, follow the page, and then click on the bottom at the bottom of the screen that says multi-guest. So you can be let in and you can tell me exactly how you're feeling about whatever it is we are talking about, guys. Anything bad, Ntate Motsepe, please. Okay. So that happened. I am back. I am here. I just want to make sure that we're live everywhere where we need to be live, because I'm a camera. Sundowns, all of a sudden I'm a camera on my alpha. Okay, so guys, what I wanted to say was I'm looking for 60,000 likes tonight, so tap the screen as much as possible. And I'm calling my gift, guys. Calling my gift, man. Okay, so today we're going to speak about some breaking news out of Clorkop. Mamelodi Sundowns has announced a brand new coach. That is this man right over here. His name is Miguel Cardoso. He's a 52-year-old Portuguese national, which means that Mamelodi Sundowns has moved away from the South African model. He's coming with 3 of his technical staff. So 3 of his technical staff is Pablo Fernandes, Pedro Acevedo, and João Araujo. Those are the 3 guys he's coming with. Coach Wendell, Coach Mangoba are out of the club, allegedly. We still got to hear, but they didn't say anything about them. Out of the club completely. So those are 2 long-serving people. When Coach Wendell and Coach Mangoba, if you go back to those videos of Sundowns celebrating the CAF Champions League, they are there. That's how long those 2 have been there. They are out. Ufohloza is gone. Ufohloza had been attracting interest from Borussia Casablanca, and he just joined literally at the beginning of the season. So he's gone. So now it means that Mamelodi Sundowns has an international-leaning technical team with only Steve Kompela and Kennedy Moene as the survivors of the big chop. So coach Miguel Cardoso has coached FC Nantes, Celta Vigo, AEK Athens, Rio Ave in Portugal. But most recently, Mamelodi Sundowns fans, you'll remember him from knocking out Mamelodi Sundowns in the Champions League. ES Tunis was the coach he was coaching. ES Tunis was the team he was coaching, Esperance. So we've got a new coach, a new sheriff in town. My thoughts are in full in YouTube. So if you want to know what I was thinking about it, I have a 21-minute video where I break down where Sundowns is going, where they've come from, what this does, blah, 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 all of the things that you love me for. But today is for you guys. I want to hear from you guys. And my suggestion today is I'm taking away the panels. I'm going to do similar to what we did yesterday, where we had just a round robin of people coming in. I'll give you 2 minutes. I may ask you a question or 2 related to what you were saying or related to something different, because I want to hear from you guys. Yeah, Coach Mangoba, man, a coach who I believe his record was 14 wins, or the 16 wins, 4 losses and 1 draw, if I'm not mistaken, in the game that he was in charge. So let's see how the conversation goes. So I'm going to open it up. Feel free to request. It's going to be round robin. So if it gets quiet, you're allowed to come back in and we can have a convo again about what you've heard from everybody else, and we'll keep it going. If you're watching on YouTube, know that you have to join me. You have to join me on TikTok in order to jump in. Then, question for the comments. Was this the right choice and was it the right time? Let me start off with Agent. Agent, my brother, welcome to the show. Oh,
What's
Agent.
happening? What's happening? Isn't the thing Motsepe dealing with me also?
Nalina, my show just froze in the middle. Let's promise we're not going to say anything negative about Tate Motsepe man and his team. Okay, we'll come back.
Man, Tate Motsepe-
Can you
Okay,
hear
I'm
me,
back, I'm
Agent?
back, I'm back, I'm back,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
back.
okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah, no, ke mo lukulole mona yo hana mola tu. Yeah, sham.
Agent, I'm going to come back. I don't know what's happening. Can the rest of the panel hear me?
Can hear you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, Agent, I'm going to come back.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm going to come back. I'm going to take you off, try and request again, then we'll have the convo. Siso, Wesley, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, my guy. How's it, OT?
I don't know. At least my news is no longer there. We don't have to. We are worrying about Sundowns now. We're worrying about Sundowns. Tell me about what you think about this announcement and all the changes that are happening at Mamelodi Sundowns at this time in the season.
My guy, it was long coming. This Mangoba exit thing was long coming even before he was appointed, I'm telling you. Do you know this thing of being actually casted out before you were even appointed? Not in a bad way, but well, I feel for the guy. I think from a point of Ubuntu, I think it was too soon, man. 16 wins in 20 something games. It's not that bad. You know? And I think he was just not given enough time. And some other people would ask, what is enough time when Mangoba has been there for a long of time? You know, and I think even the arrogance of him when he was taking over, being intentional and vocal about how he wants to change the style of play, of which was what people loved about Sundowns, you know. And when you come in, you want to change everything, and you are very vocal about it. I think that was his first sign of falling down. But other than that, man, I feel for the guy, but I think it's good for Sundowns now bringing in the team. I think it's a good thing for Sundowns, because now when you look at them at the CAF, they still stand a chance. It's not that bad. They still stand a chance. You look at them in the league, nakhona bayateka-tekanyana. But I will tell you one thing for sure. Bringing in this coach still needs to adapt as well. You know, if it was a thing of saying you are bringing in a South African coach, a Benny or a Pitso or a Rulani or whoever, a South African coach, even a dance, you know, it was going to be a different story. You know, they know how Sundowns plays. They know how the other team plays. They know they know the culture of Sundowns. But now if you are bringing a coach from outside, he still needs to understand the players. He still needs to build a relationship with the players. He still needs to understand how South African football goes in and out, how it goes on. He still needs to analyze every other team. And remember now, the league has started, they are in the CAF, like every tournament now is started, and it's the important tournaments. So I think it's the downfall for Chiefs this season. I mean, for
Hey, leave us alone, man.
Sorry, OT, but I'm just trying to say, man, his exit as Mangoba is very bad. And coming in, Coach Lofigile Manje is not going to make anything better. I think he's going to make it worse because he's still trying to adapt. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, I know. I want to ask you a question to close off your part here for time. I want to ask you, what's his mandate? Knowing that he's coming in the middle of the season and all of that stuff.
Make sure we win CAF. That's his mandate.
And what happens if he doesn't?
You go. You see, Sundowns has reached the stage that Kaizer Chiefs was once in. You remember that there is Katsabo, the shuffling, the shuffling of this other Pandlana from the development, what. Those Sundowns is there, is right there now. It's going through that. It's as when you achieve. If this guy doesn't win CAF, he's out. You will see. Mark my words. I'll be here. I'll be here with you when it happens.
Okay, for time's sake, guys, I'm leaving it open today. We're doing a panel, but please let's respect everybody else that has to come in and speak. Let me go to PK. PK, I'm giving you 2 minutes. PK, Timiahao, Ichinchile man. Alisa buas Pitori. I can say buas Portuguese now. Or Renka Tabayena man.
So, Oti. Yeah, no, I just like it when the management does such changes and people think that they have a mind of the management.
Okay.
And not in a way that I'm insulting anyone, but I just want to tell you that there is no way in which Sundowns can go out, fetch a coach, Miguel, without him being made aware of the mandate, execution, and the plan of the team. Sundowns is not in a building stage. That one we must just clear it up. It's not in a building stage.
Yeah.
Sundowns, it have an issue of dominating but not getting the final results. And now, is it a question of domination or a question of results? Maybe that's what we must engage further on to say, do we want results or do we want domination?
Yeah.
And I've been saying this thing, lot of Mamelodi Sundowns supporters have been saying, we are lost in position. We are trying to play helicopter football. And that's not the mandate. Can you build on what Rulani have done and progress us to a stage of final and taking the final? The honest truth is that in each and every competition Mamelodi Sundowns have played, except CAF, have played to a point of locally most of the finals, but we have lost it to a point of losing to Magesi. What is the problem? Is the problem of technical error or the pressure of playing more games consistently? What is the problem? These are the questions that we must ask. What is it that Miguel can give us differently? I think this guy, he was appointed before even Mangoba took over.
Yeah,
I believe that Sundowns approached him before. It's not a yesterday thing, right? So if Mamelodi Sundowns is able to say, let's pause a moment. We are in a group stage. We are leading the log, and we're going to fetch this guy now. What is it that the management is seeing that it can compromise the mandate of going to the second round in CAF, even winning the league? The honest truth is that Orlando Pirates it's on top now. It's coming. It's not like leading with 15 points and stuff. We have a real competition with it. Now, people have,
No, PK, I wanted to ask you, just for time's sake, I wanted to ask you, is this about the league and the Champions League, or is it about the Club World Cup?
I think it's about all of them. I think there is no specific individual concentration to a certain competition. It's about the football that you are playing. If you are able to be beaten by Amagezi, by Abo Polokwane, and you are busy introducing Abo Saverendra in the first game of the CAF, and we are coming with a draw, and it's like you are promising yourself that, no, we're going to do better when they are coming back. You are somehow, what if we don't do it better? Yeah, I think that we are a bit emotional on the fact that this guy was appointed at this time, And I can tell you, this guy has been following Sundowns. My thing is that let's wait and see how does this guy execute the style of play Saturday.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
see what the players are giving him. The honest truth, my brother, is that our key players have been off. Surely something has been happening. First games, Motaung was not there. It was an issue. And you don't want to
Maratai,
violate.
PK. Yeah.
Yeah. I can go on. Thanks.
Yeah. No, come back. If the line does get thinner, guys, you're welcome to come back. Let me go to Uspiwe. Spiwe. Hey, pinchwa abantu man. Hey, pinchwa abantu man.
Yazi kwenzakalani manje?
Yeah.
Vuleka mbobo vuleka.
Usho njalo mngani wami.
Imbobo vuleka lapha Nedowns manje. I think that's what's happening, my brother. And I think I would say to other teams and the likes of yourself, you guys must rise to the occasion and bring on the game. In as much as they can say the coach is good or whatever the case is, I think that coach needs to find his own footing.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy thing to do. And while he finds his own footing, whether it takes longer or it's very swift, someone is going to capitalize on it. Stellenbosch is just here. Pirates is neck on neck. So it downs. I see it bit by bit. The Betway Cup is slipping away from them. That's my first point. The second point is I am a bit happy, skeptic at the same time about the crisp of our national team. Because if we celebrate downs, falls, and crackles, it all filters down to the national team because, mind you, the majority of our players in the national team are from downs. So I hope in whatever that this coach is going to come and do, it's not something as a Sogoli Sumadala way to Mr. Miyaki, because ekugcineni sifuna qualifier for a World Cup. So that love-hate relationship is also khona ne-downs. But I think they're really downing their whole thing, Baba OT.
I like the thing you brought up now about the players. Do you think that we might see the players do better because Ngenumuntu Musha, who has nothing to do with the club?
My brother, I think the attitude was written on the wall of the players. I think there was one game that we were co-watching together, and I commented saying that the players were Sundowns are doing a soft toy. Because you could see that the players didn't want to play for Mangoba. It's more like they want to play for Sundowns, but Mangoba is getting in their way. We obviously, some of us are not close enough to know what was really happening. But you know, idiski is a game of emotions, mindset and heart and everything. You can tell from a distance, Butaman, these people are not gelling. The relationship is not as good as it was with the previous coach. So hopefully the players will be, they will find a way to play for it downs and this coach that is coming. And I can tell you, Baba OT, it won't take us long. We'll see it in them when they're enjoying the ball, when they're playing together and all that. And maybe the results will also be a top way of really telling us what will happen.
Okay. For time, I'm going to jump in. Before I go to Prastomi, the reason I'm asking the relationship question is because I think that one of the big stumbling blocks with Ukosh Mangoba coming into that squad was that was an already fractured squad. I believe from the outside, and I've done videos from a long time ago, where I've spoken about Coach Mangoba coming in might be a little bit of an issue because those are Rulani's men. And when you see that there was an issue between Rulani and Coach Mangoba, it's not hard for those players to pick up that beef too. So now most telling Umuntulo that Umuntako was fighting. Of course you're not going to see eye to eye. So does it change when a new coach outside who doesn't have anything to do with the club comes in? Do they now go, okay, Tina, we don't have a history with this guy. Then we can maybe play for him because of that. But anyway, let me go to Prastomi.
Hola, Uti.
Jordaan Prastomi man, this news from Sundowns. How do you feel about it?
What a great news.
Yeah.
I'm not specifically very happy that Monob is gone. I've never felt him and I will never put this. I will point a few things in OT. If Coach or Coach Rulani can reach finally Nedbank, play in the Paris, Paris.
Yeah.
Adlale MTN 8 final, Adlale Paris. I win FAL, I win the league and lose one game on the last day. I reach a semi-final, yeah, Champions League. Then when you compare with Mango, better home and away with MTN 8. Semi-final is Stellenbosch. Secondly, utywa final magesi. Xa ubeke esikalini wena, who's better coach kwabo bantu? It was written all over that he was going because the guy, you can tell, he was destroying the team and he wanted to prove a point that was not needed at all at Sundowns. Because I started hating the guy, I'll be honest, I started hating on his first interview he was doing with Robert Marawa.
Okay.
Because I remember how he mentioned that and I did not bring his friends and cousin to the team. He does not want to work with people abafuna a camera to be on them and each and every time by showing how much they know. So you can see those words were jabbing to Rulani Mokwena. And again, it will bring a pressure to him because never wasn't day one. If Coach Rulani was fired for doing meaning you have to do it better than him. So I saw it coming. And ndiyavumelana namhlanje bephuma apha athi uKadoso was appointed Dala because for the fact that they did not appoint him as a head coach and it was not clear, there was no contract in place, it says a lot. And Sundowns, you can see babengafuna ukusho uba he's a caretaker to the team.
But I want to ask you, Prastomi, was he set up? Because he was meant to become a new position in the back. That's what his agent was saying. Was he set up to take this job and maybe take the Fallbum keep?
When you check, it was a setup to me because you can tell, but who sporting director is involved, and it's my opinion, it's not a fact. Sporting director is involved in this. He wanted to have a coach which is not a black African to go to Club World Cup. He could not afford to have a coach who's an African local coach to go and coach the Club World Cup. Whereas here, the likes of coaches in Super Europe, they'll have a chance to be exposed when you're playing with Club World Cup.
Yeah.
So basically, it was very clear, and Coach Mangoba couldn't read London because for the fact that he was so adamant, thinking that he's going to the Club World Cup, he should have asked himself, why there's no contract, why it is not clear that I'm a head coach. So we move what too forward, and I'm happy that is coming. He wanted to change the team. A football that we don't know. Sundowns look like a mediocre team. No one is afraid to play Sundowns because of him of trying to prove a point, which is what was unnecessary to the team, and there was no need to change the way we play.
For time, Prastomi. Thank you so much, Prastomi. Let me go to Usiso. Siso, welcome to the show. How are you?
Sure, Mr. Uti.
Hey, what do you make of this news?
Ngakutshela Mr. Uti, I've taken me my case. Ngakutshela ngathi akunane excela, and I was surprised that he didn't get fired after the first CAF game, the draw to that Monamea team. I was very surprised because that is basically, Mr. Oti, 2 games, 2 teams or opponents that play exactly the same way and they beat you. So I was very surprised. A long time, but I'm not surprised, Mr. Oti. I saw it coming. Reason being, my biggest turn off with Coach Mangoba was when he did an interview. It was not the Robert Marawa one. It was the one I said about Shlompokekana la payane le ground la
pitch side.
Yes, pitch side. But more crosses, none. Okay, there's no problem. more crosses, more of this, more of that. The question is, how are you gonna balance it with the shoe shine, the piano that Amasandawana fans want? How will you balance it the way that Rulani balanced it with his chameleon? You understand? And he failed completely to balance it. What he wanted was these things that he wanted to add. Instead, he could not balance it throughout the team. Then I balance, and that was my question when he was appointed, that will he be able to balance position, the shoe shine piano, and then implement these crosses? And also, don't make your team don't make your team one-sided in terms of attacking, playing and everything. Make sure your team is still as flexible. You've got an advantage. You've got someone who just got fired, who made your team so flexible, made a lot of your players, a lot of them versatile, and you want to make them fixed. Why are you doing that? And then you're going to come back crying for injuries. You're going to come back, you're going to be crying that, oh, no, Lama player Tini, but you've got versatile players all around.
Can I ask you, do you trust the people that are left with Shushan and piano? Because it's Steve that's left and Kennedy, and then maybe you could point to some of the older heads like Avotrod. Can you trust Fleming? Can you trust the new coach to implement Shushan and piano?
I don't really say I can trust them, because I think clearly you can see that there's something that Mr. Flemingberg is up to, and we honestly don't know what it is yet at the moment, but you can see change from the selling of M Tigers, those small signs, guys, we can take it upon and say, no man, but I would say I can give trust to the likes of Kennedy Mokwena, because the goalkeeping department hasn't changed that much. I can give him that role. I can give him that trust. Same goes for the other guys who are still there. About Steve Kompela, I can give it to them because they haven't went. But I don't know Steve Vuzoba Njani, because he never worked with the guy who Pitso, who verified this Shushain and piano, But in Mr. Oti, is that with the new coach, the positive thing I would say the Sundowns fans must look upon is that now you've got a balance between a European coach and an African coach, and you're going to play Club World Cup. You can look at it that way as Sundowns fans right now. They're in a balance between coach Usuga Ngapeshe and African. And one thing that I will say
very quickly,
lastly, that you guys will always regret it, because out of all the coaches who came after Pitso, Rulani was the only one with a good style of play for the World Cup. Club World Cup. But yes, thank you, Mr. Oti.
No, thank you. I can see why you say you guys. No, I'm not you guys. I know the transfer fan window was open, Mara. If you have not followed, please follow. Let's tap the screen as much as possible. It is free. And a kupari gift, Mara guys. Kupari gift. Let me go to Cass. Cass, welcome to the show. How are you?
How's it, Mr. Oti?
Man, hey, me, I'm good. I want to hear from you guys, Sundowns fans. How do you feel about this change?
Honestly, I was tempted to say I'm happy, but honestly, as in with the Motaung, it shouldn't bring you that happiness. But honestly, as for me, I feel relieved because I love Sundowns so much that these days I was feeling so worried every time we are to play any game, any team. And that was a worrisome effect for me, because as Sundowns, I know we are the ones who should be giving heart attacks and problems for others, but now it seems like the tables were turned for us. Okay, going into this thing, one thing that I understand about Sundowns, I think Sundowns, honestly speaking, it represents Motsepe himself. Okay. Yes, it's a football team, South African, but it represents him in that stage. As they go play at that stage, they are not just playing for Mamelodi Sundowns as a club, but they're also playing for irrespect, for Motsepe. That's why he's investing a lot in this club, because it also comes with irrespect.
I believe
that was also a worry. That was also a worry for Motsepe, because honestly, you cannot go to the Club World Cup with a coach like Manova, really, to play the likes of Bayern Munich or Dortmund. It doesn't work, because you have seen it didn't work with Magazine, the likes of Pirates. It failed with small teams. So now going into that big stage, we need the people that has the capability to actually see us through. We don't have to go there to take chances. We understand that Mangoba needed the job and you have to take care of your family and all that stuff. But right now, Sundowns is it at that critical stage that it needs actually to make sure that it's airtight at every corner. There is CAF around the corner. We are already playing CAF this weekend.
Yeah.
It's already started. We are going to the Club World Cup, big games. We still have tournaments. We still have the domestic.
I want to ask you though, how much of this is Dr. Motsepe and how much of this is Topi Motsepe, Chairman Topi Motsepe?
One thing that I believe, Utlopi doesn't do anything without actually consulting with his father. I think this thing has to be discussed first on the table with his father. Daddy, this is what I'm thinking. This is what is going on right now. I know you trusted me with this team so that I take care of it. But I believe Motsepe, the father, still has got a say somehow. Or say, no, my boy, now you are doing this wrong. Because it still reflects him when it does go bad. So he still has to protect it somewhere, somehow. So I believe Motsepe, the father, is one on top of everything.
Okay. Kes, I want to bring in Preston. Let me bring in Preston. Preston, how are you? Let me see if we can't get Preston on, and then we'll see if we can't bring him back in. Preston? Okay, I'll come back to Preston. Lucha, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Lucha, man. But I want to hear from Sundowns people. How do you feel about this thing that has happened at Mamelodi Sundowns, this announcement?
Okay, listen, I'm a Chiefs fan, but the thing that they did to Rulani is not unfair, straight. I don't want to lie. The new coach will struggle for real. That coach, Uzozama change a formation, a Sundowns. When they are playing, so like for real, Sundowns won't take the league, serious. And not at the league, Sundowns, so it won't qualify on CAF, serious.
What is the cause of that thing? That Sundowns doesn't qualify? Is it because the coach won't have time? Is it because they're changing their structure? Is it because of the timing of the change?
The timing of the change. At least if they changed the coach next season, next year January, but not now. But not now. If more pega now. When was Rulani mabe khona ngaku Sundowns ne? Anga peg. Mastermind.
Yeah.
Abe khona la umanqoba. Manje after Rulani ahambe Sundowns change. I don't want to lie. Change Sundowns. Ne beke Sundowns seshawa amateam amancane noma igesi oyini yabo. So Sundowns if ucoach lo wabo uza ngestyle esimnandi ke sesizabona phambili ukuthi babambile. But all I wish them is luck.
Manje ucoach kumele enze. What is the mandate for the rest of the season? Knowing ukuthi ungene already phakathi kweseason, he still has to get used to the play and all of that type of stuff. Yini mandate yakhe for the season?
I don't want to lie. The coach will struggle. Will really, really struggle. Ne? So I don't know who is this guy, Steve Compel. Must try to advise that guy and show him how the things work around Sundowns. Yeah, and listen, I'm 18 years, but I'm watching football. Serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marawa only 2000.
Yeah, I'm in 2000. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, Lucha. Let me go to Ongama. Tell me about what you think of this World Cup.
Proud uthi hey so you are good man. Hayi mbobo mayivuleke uthi kade savuleka nathi uthi. Ayivuleke mbo. Hey let's come back into this thing of Sundowns and changing the coach at this crucial crucial time of the season. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at this thing, when I've checked indlela adlala ngayo coach when that coach is a coach that plays in a high intensity football. He plays the same way as like Coach Nab. He wants to play that high intensity football. So when I'm looking at the management of Sundowns, they want to change the style of playing to make sure that they accommodate the African football and also the European football. They want to intensify the style of playing. But when I'm looking at the philosophy that was played by Rulani, Rulani was playing the type of philosophy whereby there was a slow progress in terms of the build-up, in terms of the progression of the ball going forward. So when I'm looking at that thing and looking at what the coach of Sundowns want to implement, the new style of coach that we want to implement, he will try to intensify the movement of the ball. That's what I think he was employed for. He was employed for high intensity football, making sure that the movement of the ball from the back. But when I'm looking at the type of players that are in the team, I think the coach will struggle because the type of players that are in the team, maybe in the January transfer window, he'll get the type of players that he wants. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But for now, you'll try to make sure you try to find the right combinations. I hope Steve will not be arrogant enough into helping him and find the right players into the game. I don't know whether he will help him because Steve was the one he destroyed Kaizer Chiefs. So I don't know. But
Can I ask? You're speaking about the January window. Will he get the January window? Because January is right here. Is there enough time to assess the squad, to see who plays well under you, to do all of that stuff? Do you trust the man who's coming in December with a January window?
I don't know when I would see it will require a coach to have to grow fast into the game of South African football, to understand a lot in South African football, and it requires him a lot. I think the most thing that Sundowns needed this season is CAF Champions League. And the more they want the CAF Champions League, they must sleep into the league, maybe the third spot, but they won't sleep as much as possible. Maybe they will sleep to the third spot.
Okay. Very quickly, but for time's sake, yeah, very quickly.
I think the coach will go. So I think for the coach, the type of players that will try to check into the January transfer window will be the players that will be more to progress the ball going forward into energetic midfielder. You want that energetic midfielder. Look at how the Esperanza team operated. They move the ball as much as quickly, and also the previous teams that he works on, he needs the energetic team that moves the ball forward. So I think that's one of the things that will work. Yeah, that's my observation when about him.
Thank you, Gaba. Let me go to A-Step Shambi. Hey. Mara.
Hey, Habibi, you like to talk, Habibi. You talk.
I know you like to talk, Habibi.
Hey, Habibi. You are back today, Habibi. You've got a big smile, Habibi. Hey, what chabla kangaka, Mr. Utsi?
Mina ngifuna ukuzwa ukuthi nithini masandawana man.
Oh man, I don't like your energy today. You're too energetic. You're too energetic, Mr. Utsi.
The target is off of me. That's why I'm happy. The target is gone. I'm not target like him.
Look, Mr. Utsi, it's simple, Lento, man. Big teams have big decisions to make, and success is measured in results. And not that Mangoba is not a good coach, not that Mangoba because he's black. No, what he brought was just not good enough. And that's the bottom line. What he brought versus the ambitions that Mamelodi Sundowns has, it did not match. And unfortunately, maybe he will have better luck there at Golden Arrows again, but unfortunately, Mamelodi Sundowns was definitely not the place for him to go back into being a head coach. Imsindile Latimi. And I think sengicala ucabanga nokuthi like lama comments beka washo kulama interviews la vele mega qala ukuthatha ithene yakhe ku Sundowns, maybe he was deflecting ukuthuka kwakhe lapha. Maybe he was trying to remove the attention because yes, you're first in the league, but we also have to look at how we are playing. It matters. Sundowns team is spanning stats, Mr. Otsi. They've invested a lot into the technological side of the team. And they're seeing the difference. As much as we're seeing the difference, they have my XG, we're scoring goals, but we also increase the chances of us being scored against. So barely hanging on to number 1 is not enough for Mamelodi Sundowns. 2 draws going into the CAF is not enough for Mamelodi Sundowns.
So
Losing is not enough.
Are you going to be as hard on this coach? Because you could argue that Coach Mangoba came in and one hand tied behind his back, can't change players, coming into a hostile environment, having to try to change this style of play, which seems to be something Fleming wants. Then this coach is coming in not midway through the season, but the season's already started. He has to still learn and do all of those things. How harsh are you with this coach if we're that harsh with Mangoba and that transition?
So unfortunately, the thing is, going forward, the standard has been cast in stone now. It's no longer, because when Mangoba came in, we were questioning that. So what is the standard now? But now we're clearly saying, this is the standard. It's been cast in stone. You need to dominate CAF. You need to win finals, and you need to run away with the league as early as possible, so that when you get into the later stages of CAF, then you can play your second string squad in the league to conserve some energy. So unfortunately, Umangoba did it to himself. But in the same vein, as much as it's a bit, this change that is happening is a bit of a, I don't know, shocking thing, I guess. Fleming na safe, because he's setting the standard as well that if he doesn't deliver, he too needs to get the boots. So if this is going to be applied across board from the top to bottom, including to players, then I'm all for this, Mr. Otsi. I'm all for the shaky car ride for a little bit so that we can set the standard for the team across board. Even Notlo, this also needs to apply to him that if you don't perform, your father has to find someone else who can control this. This is not a side hustle for you. This is not a learn how to make 10K in 5 days hustle. This is people's emotional investments into this. You know, people are serious about football, and he also needs to do the same thing.
No, for time, Shebe. Marakabe, let me bring you Butare. Butare, welcome to the show. How are you?
How are you, brother? Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, my brother. Can you hear what Sundowns has done perfectly? How do you feel about this change?
Look, when Mangoba took over and there were rumors that they're negotiating with Penny, there's a European coach that they're looking for. We did say that Mangoba Mniti will fall over to what Kevin Johnson did, where he had a comfortable position as a head of development. That's what Mangoba was offered. Mangoba was offered a management role, but because for some reason he didn't get that position of a management role, or they didn't get the coach they were looking for at that time, and then they opted to take Mangoba, and I guess he was bound to fail because I don't think it was Mamelodi Sundowns' first choice. So it's difficult, but my worry with this change is looking at Ukadoso, looking at his stats. You know, in the group today, we've been checking all his stats. We did our research on him. He doesn't have the greatest stats. He doesn't have the greatest stats, and also the type of football he plays. It's not what Sundowns is looking for. Except was speaking about Sundowns, it's a position-based team. But with this coach, go back and watch his games against Esperance. When he was playing Sundowns home and away, he was playing a low block. He wants to play on counter press, but low block. And we play on counter attacks, fast moving balls going forward. Sundowns fans gonna like that because at the end of the day, we might see the end of Shushain and Piano if this coach brings. And at some point, I feel like we're not being realistic with ourselves. We can't expect this coach to come in and play exactly how we think he should play Shoeshine and Piano if it's not his style of play. He has the players to play any kind of the game that he wants. He has fast players. He has ball players. The question is, will the players buy in? Chances that they will, because I feel like maybe the players got rid of Mangoba because now there were disagreement between the players and the coach. Maybe that's what forced Sundowns to make changes as quick as possible. So let's see. But for me, I'm worried about the style of play of this coach.
I want to ask you that. I want you to ask you that, and also to the comments, just for time. I want you to ask you that. So, would Sundowns fans be fine with losing Shoeshine and Piano, or the way Shoeshine and Piano is now, if it's successful? So if Caruso comes in and he wins the league, at a Champions League, at a Nedbank Cup, he sweeps the board, but he's playing ugly football, do you think that it will be accepted?
Can I tell you something, Oti? South African fans in general, when he's still winning, they won't talk about it. Trust me, they will just put it under the carpet. But let him start losing after maybe sweeping the board first season or second season, and he start losing. That's when they'll come back and be like, yeah, Vele, you make us lose our Shoeshine and Piano. Now we need to start again and rebuild our type of play. So the thing is, for now, if he's gonna win, maybe it will buy him time with his style of play. But if he's not gonna win and he's playing ugly, I don't see him staying 2 years. The reason why, and earlier on I did say this.
Very quickly,
for me, I feel like Coach Mangoba, they allowed Coach Mangoba to fetch you for closer, just to test the waters. But I feel like Steve Compella was fetched by the management. So that if Ulo Uyafeila, if the coach fails, Steve Compella is there to pick up the pieces and continue with the team. So that's my say. But yeah, this might be the end of Sundowns' dominance.
Oh, thank you, Butare. Let me bring in Ray 7. Ray 7, how are you doing, my brother? Oh, Ray. Okay, we'll see if we can come back to Ray. Let me go to Chero. Chero. Why do you sound down, Chero?
I am so.
What do you think?
I think this is a problem coming from the top. I think Intwana, I can call him Intwana because he's young. He's making the same mistake his father did when he started. Because we've seen this movie before. This is not the first time. When his father started, he wanted to as much as he was buying players, he wanted to buy trophies too. He wanted to buy success.
Yeah.
And he came.
Hey, Muta Hey, Hansel Muta.
And he came to football with a business mentality. You know.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hi, Emma Pili. Who's this now? Who's talking now? No, go ahead, Chero. Go ahead, Chero.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there's someone. Yeah, and I can't even tell because everyone is muted.
I think it's Ray. Ray, come back. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, Hansel. You can carry on.
All right. So business people, they look at the bottom line, which have you made profit? So his father came with that same attitude, and then eventually he learned, no, football doesn't work that way. And I think he's making the same mistake as his father. Because first and foremost, you were not supposed to fire or rulani, You don't win Champions League every season. There's no team who does that. Or you don't even win Champions League you win Champions League once in 5 years.
Yeah.
That's like the average in the whole world. It's only Real Madrid and Ahly, but the rest of the world, you win Champions League once in 4 years or 3 years. So you can't fire a coach who lost in the semi-final. We gave them the benefits of the doubt. You don't fire a coach who won the league, who lost in the final of the Nedbank, and then won the league. They fired Mokwena. Okay, we said maybe, there's something happening in the background because we don't know. We gave them the benefits of the doubt. Now they are firing a coach who's number one, who's in the league, and is doing well in the Champions League. If you look at the whole crew,
Yeah.
so, this doesn't make football sense.
But
This
can I ask
division
you?
doesn't make. Yeah.
Can I ask you something that goes to your point about Klopp? Should Chairman Klopp be allowed to have his time when he also doesn't get it right and find his feet, or is it too much of a risk?
I think it's because for me, when I OT, he's got his father to lean on, and he grew up in this team. You can see what's been happening. You find a coach, you find a technical team, and then you let them do their thing. If one coach is go, and then whoever was second in charge goes up. Because if you see from Pitso to Mokwena to Mangoba, there was a succession plan. There was a plan.
Mara, you must be able to start it from scratch, man.
And fail, because he's gonna fail. Because now what you're doing now, when you're firing Mangoba and Mokwena, while they were successful, that means this guy, if he loses 2 games, he must go. As the Sundowns fans, now we're gonna say, why are you not firing him? Because he's white.
Okay.
Because there's no any other reason to say why is Mangoba and Mokwena were fired. Okay, we gave them the benefit of the doubt. Now this guy, if he loses 2 games, he must go. Find another coach.
Well, for time.
Must go.
Yeah. For time, Jero, I'm gonna jump in for time.
All right, okay, it's fine.
For time, sorry, Jero, man, for time. Question to the comments, guys. If we're saying that Tate Motsepe needed to find his feet, he went through some things before getting to the Sundowns that we know. Should Chairman Kloppy be allowed to also make his mistakes if it's a mistake? We don't know how it's going to pan out, but if it's a mistake, should he be allowed to make his mistakes in order to make the Sundowns into his image or the way that he wants it to be? How do we feel on that? And also, guys, don't forget to follow. If you have not followed, tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen. I see there's 250 of us here. Please, let's try to get to 60,000. And also, kupari gift, guys. Ntsele rumella dipedi. Maramor buang polo hali rumelli di gift. Kupari gift. Let me go to Stereophonic. Welcome to the show, my brother. How are you?
Hey, Mokwena, how are you doing?
I'm Nakimunati. I'm free. I have nothing on me today. Tell me, Stereophonic, how do you feel about this coaching change at Sundowns?
I think we're surprised and not surprised. And I'm going to give an opinion from the outside looking in, because I'm not a Sundowns supporter. I'm surprised because, I think we're going back to the days before Pitso where you could see the real Sundowns fans who are
let me just check something. Prati, kupo mute mo, Prati. Kupo mute. Anko. Yes, go on, Stereophonic. Sorry about that.
No, I was going to say it's giving the era where, and I know these new Sundowns fans will not know, there was a time, there was a Sundowns before Pitso where we knew that if results don't go their way, their supporters will be very angry. Super Saiyan, Dragon Ball Z, and then they will change coaches, like how we know Chipam Pengensi and Roman Abramovich to do their thing. So with Pitso, I don't know how he managed to pull this off, and he was given the budget and the time to actually build the Sundowns that we know today.
Yeah.
So I thought I was expecting that with Coach Mangoba, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But also what surprised me even more is that the coach they got. I mean, I don't believe in these coaches from North Africa because dark arts I see people talking about Arsenal doing dark arts and all that, but you know that the number one guys that do dark arts are the guys from North Africa. And
Bajo check in the middle of your point, Chief. Bajo phone. It's fine. I will. Are you with me again?
Yeah, I'm with you. Where did I cut off?
You cut off with dark arts.
Oh yeah, I'm saying that North African football and their dark arts, and also the kind of play is not necessarily what we used to seeing with Mamelodi Sundowns, and at the end of the day, you try and ask yourself that, okay, with the coach they're getting, I was also what's the type of football they're trying to get, and is it an improvement from what what we used to get from Coach Rulani, or is it now, are they looking to a different direction? And whatever direction they're looking into, I don't think it's the right direction, because I mean, what Coach Rulani managed to do, he's earned the respect of literally the African continent at large, based on the type of football they play. And then suddenly now you have a change of what Coach Mangoba was doing. I'm just assuming that, you know, we were just impatient, but also at the same time, I don't think it was the fans were impressed. Can I
ask just for time's sake, guys? I think he means that the last job that this guy had was in North Africa, so maybe he's coming with that. I wanted to ask Stereophonic, wouldn't you argue that maybe that's what Sundowns needs to do then? If you want to win the Champions League, maybe you need to orientate yourself to being more like a North African team, the guys who have done it over and over again. I mean, he comes from a final of the Champions League. Maybe you need that.
Okay, I think what I found impressive about Coach Rulani is the way of adapting to the opponent, but at the same time managed to incorporate what he has adapted into his coaching. So fine. I mean, I think the season before, where the Mbala own goal sort of blocked his destiny, bar that, I think he had a lot of things under control. Unfortunately, you know, results didn't go his way. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back was the Nedbank Cup final. But I think that's what I believe is that.
For time, yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, like you say, time. But you know, is coming, especially when my team is involved. Right?
Thank you so much. Let me bring in another one. Prati.
Bra Otizo jwa.
Karu thabile Prati, uthabetseng e kana Prati, o reng ka taba ena man, o utlwa ditaba tsa Mangoba.
Na gompieno at least ke dula mo sitting e nngwe ya go seba fela re seba baagisane ka Pitorical ha ke tle go lela, that's why ke thabile mme a se gore ke thabile gone thota because of taba ya Mamelodi Sundowns so bona ke kene today ke ya re ama lona as a cause di player tse di bapalang go Sundowns di bapala le go squateng, so ya re ama cause di player tse ra di supporta go squateng. But I think khale re bona khale na khale ke bone khale tsatsile ba poenta Mangoba Ngiti khale ke bona gore ai Mangoba Ngiti a ka se last go Sundowns e etsa getse ne le nako e etsa getse today because of last season ke nagana gore ba ke ba poenta Mangoba Ngiti as a head coach, like ne le co-coach le Rulani, but ke nna in charge ba mo dimota. But
hey Viper mute mo heaven Ray 7, mute please, both of you. Viper and Ray 7, please mute there.
Yeah, ba ile ba poenta Mangoba before Rulani, then Mangoba failed ba poenta Rulani, who was better than Mangoba Ngiti. Janu Rulani le ene ba motsamaisa ke sa tsebe gore reason ya gore why ba motsamaisitse jaanong why ba busetsa gape Mangoba o tle a failed before. A bona gore bothata bo startile gone mole ke nagana gore bothata ba Mamelodi Sundowns ne le bone ke nagana gore ba patient for Mangoba Ngidi ka ba mo file at least until January re bona gore maikemisetso a gagwe ke eng, then maybe o ka tswa ba na le pressure gore ba tshwanetse ba wine CAF Champions League. But question ke gore a ba tle go wina ka decision e ba e tshotseng na ke one question because of coach o ba mo appointile ke o tswa kwa North Africa ke like bonabi so tshameka di long ball wa bona like coach o dumela bathong ba batho a style of play sa Mamelodi Sundowns a utlwe go pasa na. But all in all ke nagana re Sundowns yone e na le quality league ya ba ka compete mo le ba tsadi di points nyana, but ko Africa a ba tle go dira na ba tle go wina. Mangoba Ngithile ne downfall a gagwe le ene o ile a kena mo team o ya fixa ntwe sa senyega because of am plus ya tsamaya ka ntwele the way Rulani na tsamaya ka teng because of inile assistant ya Pitso Mosimane, inile assistant ya Rulani mokwena wena sa tsamaya gore ya lene o itla batla go change re bona because when nete bra OT Sundowns ne sa tshameke the way re tsebang like ne dlala ka teng mo di past season tse di fetileng tse le like no bona ba tshameka ball e different a ke tse gore Manqoba Ngwethina a tsama go etsa because of am plus a tswella ka one ala mo Rulani a feletseng a le sa go change o bona go teane go na le team divided to bote go mokwena go tshwamolla o utlwa di kgangkgang tse dintsintsi but one mokwalo no le mo le boteng bra OT Manqoba ene tsela ga go ene tshai.
Okay. Hi Prati. Wena o rata go nka nako kaofela ke gone le go botsa question but it's fine. Eriki Kenye Mqomqo, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, good OT. How are you?
I'm okay. Mqomqo, tell me about this change. How do you feel about it?
It's very sad OT for South African football. I have to say that. I totally agree with ASAP about Kloppy, the chairman. If Kloppy is not able to perform, he as well needs to be I don't know if I should say fired, but I have a feeling that the senior Mr. Motsepe is making his Sundowns his little project and putting his son there to try and see if he can run anything. That's the feeling that I have. And football is all about emotions. So you've got a lot of fans of Mamelodi Sundowns who are not happy with certain decisions that are happening at Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah.
So I agree with ASAP. If Kloppy is not performing, he himself should then be, whether given another role or maybe a new chairman needs to be appointed at Sundowns. And secondly, Mr. Oti, this is not about Manqoba. I consistently indicated when Manqoba was appointed, I said I feared for him. I fear for him because your predecessor, you are going to be measured against him.
Yeah.
And we can be honest here that Sundowns made the biggest mistake in firing Rulani. We don't know what were the issues, but we can all agree that Rulani was one of the best coaches to ever coach Mamelodi Sundowns. Actually, one of the best coaches in Africa, if we're being honest. Mamelodi Sundowns fired Rulani. And then now a guy comes in. Now, let's be honest, check the log now. Who is number one? Mamelodi Sundowns. They only lost the final of the what is this thing? Blake Label.
Yeah, Blake Label.
Blake Label. Chiefs didn't win that thing. Paris didn't win that thing, and you don't hear anyone saying they are firing the coach at Chiefs or they are firing the coach at Orlando Pirates.
Yeah.
What are we basing this on? Can we be honest? What are we basing this on? This has got nothing to do with the performance of Manqoba. Check the record.
Yeah.
Go check the record now. How many wins he's got, how many draws he's got, and then let's come back and discuss if Manqoba has underperformed at Mamelodi Sundowns. Can we be honest here? This has got nothing to do with Manqoba. This is how I feel. This is how they actually played Manqoba. They knew in the beginning when they appointed him that they don't want to appoint him.
Yes.
They knew exactly who they wanted. Then you are using a South African. Guys, can we be honest? Kaizer Chiefs is coached by a foreigner. Paris is coached by a foreigner. Now Mamelodi Sundowns is coached by a foreigner. Not that we don't want them here, but what are we building on? Are we serious as South Africans to say this is our identity as South African football, and then we are going to develop our own so that we can run this thing all together?
Can I ask you? TikTok. Can I ask you, what does that do to South African football? Because Mamelodi Sundowns is one of the few institutions that we have that can develop coaches and put them in a place where they can be continental competition. Now that we're bringing in overseas coaches, and even Pirates is now a Spaniard team or run by a Spaniard, what does that do to South African football? Does it have an effect at all, if at all?
It does. It totally does. Let me say this, when OT. If you remember the rise of Coach Pitso and Rulani, these are examples that we can use as South Africans to say we are able to do it on our own. Coach Pitso was able to win this thing. Coach Pitso was able to go to the highest level of Africa to expose us as South Africans to say we can actually go and contest with these guys. We never used to contest with Ahly. Coach Pitso used to beat them. Even Rulani used to beat them like it's nothing. So it does affect us because it seems as if we've gotten back to that thing of idolizing these foreign coaches as if they are way better than us. Well, in actual fact, they are not. We understand our own football better. Why can't we use that as a strength to say we have our own way of playing football? And then if you can focus on our strengths as South Africans and develop our own players, develop our own coaches, and let them go there and compete in Africa, but let's not fire them the way we do. Phela Rulani didn't live like ngathi uhamba kamnandi uMamelodi Sundowns. He was fired.
For time. I'm going to have to jump in there for time. Guys, question again to the comments. I'm going to throw a lot of questions to the comments. In the comments, would you be patient enough to develop another Pitso? So if we all agree that maybe Mamelodi Sundowns has reached a place where, in terms of technical team-wise, they're starting from scratch, would you be fine with bringing a similar coach to what Pitso was? So not him, but a similar coach like this. I'm going to give you an example, but not him. Gavin Hunt right now, lots of success early on. He's played at a smaller team. He's taken Chiefs to the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League before he was fired. Would you trust a coach like that to come in, or even Benny, to come in and build what Coach Pitso did for the next 10 years? Would you guys be patient enough? But anyway, let me go to Hansel. Hansel, welcome to the show. Man, Hansel,
how are you?
Today.
No, this is my first time.
Hansel, tell me about this decision, man. How do you feel about it?
Mr. Oti, this decision was taken a long time ago when Rulani left, right? I remember when Rulani was sacked, me and we had a conversation on this panel. We asked Uri, is Mangoba being set up for failure, or is Mangoba being put there in the position because he deserves it? And I'm one of those who agreed with you. No, Mangoba is being set up because he has been in the institution for too long, and he's earning a lot of money, and there's no direct way of getting rid of Mangoba at Sundowns, right? It's rather you put him there and wait for him. And in all honesty, Mangoba has not yet failed at Sundowns during his head coach tenure. He has not yet failed, right? It's just that the results were not coming. It's not like last season they won the MTN where you can say, no, last season he won the MTN, this season he failed to win it. It's not like last season they won the black label where you can say, no, we won the black label and now he has failed, right? Yeah. So far he is on top of the log, he's number one. So far there's nothing that you can say he has failed. It's just that he might have been arrogant and all, but there's no, and even if you check what you call his stats compared to the coach that they brought in, his stats are much higher, right? Yeah. And also the young players that he was grooming, the young talent, the young South African talent that he was giving chances that were being exposed to CAF. I don't think the new coach will use the same method. He will prefer his own players, he will prefer his own style of play, which will also figure with the national team. Because we have national team players there. 80%, if not 70% of the national team players come from Mamelodi Sundowns. What if the new coach says, no, these players, they're not up to par. I don't want them. I want my own players, just like the way Nabi is saying on Chiefs, that these players, they're not up to the standard that he wants them to be. What will happen then to the players that we have as the backbone of Bafana? You understand?
Should he care about that? Hey, Hansel, before you go, should he care about that? I mean, Utlet's partner, he's come to the club team. If he doesn't want mokwena and he wants to bring in his own guys or whatever, or bring up other players who maybe aren't as good, should he care about the national team? Is it still a mandate for Sundowns?
No, I don't think he himself will care, but it should have been Mamelodi Sundowns' decision and what you call responsibility to know that we are the backbone of the national team, right? Okay. We don't just take these decisions unnecessarily. So it's unfortunate for Mangoba. It was from the frying pan to the fire. Now he has gone. I don't think I don't really agree with this decision because the coach they brought is not that much above Mangoba in terms of records and his track records. He has never stayed at a team for more than 2 seasons. So I don't know what's gonna happen there. And at least Mangoba should, if they really wanted to keep Mangoba, they should have kept him somewhere in the team, maybe a senior coach, because the coach is coming with his technical team, body assistant coach and what. or at least put him somewhere there in the team for him at least to go in the Club World Cup, because he was there from the inception. At least he deserves to be there. Not even not. Yeah, for me, it's a bit hectic. I'm worried about the squad also.
No, for time's sake, I'm going to jump in there. Concierge, this is the question that I'm asking you guys. Okay, here's another question for the comments. Do you think that maybe Coach Mangoba has also downplayed as to what he's helped out with the club? He's contributed towards the club. Because if I remember correctly, yes, Rulani went invincible last season, but when there were co-head coaches with Mangoba as the final decision maker, I believe 2021 or 2022 was that they lost one game in the league as well. Are we also downplaying that part? How much does PR play into these type of things, and how much advantage do these foreign coaches have when they come here? Because we tend to trust them, no Fleming, some trust. Gota, maybe we haven't held him accountable as well. Let me go to Likompo. Likompo, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, Likompo. Here's the decision that was made. We won as well.
To tell you the truth, I'm not surprised that Coach Mangoba was fired. You know why? From the moment Rulani was fired, it became evident that Sundowns operate under the high standard. Because I feel like Rulani, during that time Rulani was at Sundowns, he was doing good job, and I feel like they were on the verge of winning Champions League. I think Rulani needed that time. I think he needed time. He was going to win the Champions League, to tell you the truth. They were performing, even some of the team in Champions League even some of the team in the Champions League, they did not want to face Sundowns during that time in Rulani. They did not want to face Sundowns, to tell you the truth. I remember when Sundowns played Young Africans, even the coach said that he was not expecting to play with Sundowns.
Okay.
That shows you how well the team was during that time. So when Rulani was fired, to me, I just thought Sundowns is doing what they will not sustain on a long run. I'm telling you, they will not sustain this. Because I feel like even the new coach that they employed now, I feel like he's going to need time. He's not going to do miracles. That's what I feel. And for me, Mangoba was not doing a bad job. It's just that he failed to win. He failed to win at those important games. Yeah.
Okay, Likompo. Well, Likompo, do you think that Sundowns fans maybe will be lenient on the new coach coming in at this time of the season? Do you think that they'll let him go for the season, or even with the fans, is it now Champions League or bust? Kaibona management, Kibotsa fans.
The fans may be lenient.
Okay.
Of course, everyone knows that new coach need the time to settle and execute the style of playing that they want to bring into the club. Everyone is going to give this guy a chance to work, but with what I have seen from him, I don't believe he will last for me.
Okay. No. Likompo, thank you so much for jumping in with me. Let me bring you to Black Viper. Black Viper, welcome to the show, man. Oreng, bro.
Uthi ke mnati. And I go palweno smile molinting. I know secretively all the Kaizer Chiefs. You should be smiling. Nna kya smile like
secretively. 999 kile Kaizer Chiefs. Black Viper.
Bona he.
Uskan Kenya ko Sundowns, man.
Oye, ya ke smile ke le paganian. I have more reality ne. What I feel about Batebele Mangoba, as a surprise, like the whole world knew Mangoba is not the right man for Sundowns from the get-go when the season started. Because there was a point we used to talk. These people, Sundowns, they are not sure Mangoba is their man, which means they spend all this time looking for the right person. But okay, since we are now talking matlang, hare be Mangoba spoton se chesang hanos horn. Now when Mangoba started game time at Bapal, like it's like so. Subconsciously, he knew he's not the right person about Matling officing. It's like he knew everything of officing. That's why behavior sometimes was not make sure. Man, this is not Mangoba that we know. Mangoba before, cool, calm and collected, decision making a bit spot on. Even though he Lana Kwanza assistant. Grand man. That's coach before. Asanzane a change channel Hulan. Mtona sharp. So no like behavior in the one sorry. Mtona kareng wate officing, bupiloba high, limsevitway. Aye. Hadisata ma grande. So that
Marakupa Hovota. Harry Chojalo, when we're speaking about that with Coach Mangoba, do you think that do you think that Mamelodi Sundowns might be heading down a route or a defense or the public sentiment kaubane? If Naratiwa Mangoba, do you think that this decision would have been made? The results are not that bad.
Like Sundowns have operated that way. Yeah, by emotions. Decision by Khan. Yeah, they knew eventually about
Mara Kicho for now. Kicho in terms of Munta now, is it one of those things that they knew or a lot of Sundowns fans would agree, if that makes sense?
No, I for now, like I don't think like they really cared. But when what's best for business is that's why I'm to let them know. If they felt to the supporter decide do or not, and say it's a no decision. So everyone's they doing what's best for business. They don't do it for the fans.
Okay. Yeah.
Le mutako lene for nakibona ele like they like how no boats are they heading down the road? Yeah, by a fact. But they born on to be in pause. And mistake has Mango. Mangoba is not their mistake. Their biggest mistake is Rulani Mukwe. Rulani Mukwena, if Ananzale thing no. Demane Nkaba Akabachile Klapate Paya to the level here, the Club World Cup. Because now I think you should let Kiboni the posters are Mamelodi Sundowns. Even Lebatubadu body states, USA. By its Sundowns. Not because of anything win, because of what Rulani did last season. In particular, because people started fearing Sundowns, like even Ahly themselves. Balaba fear to the point of anyone has a long Sundowns. When we put it post, so like no decision yes Sundowns stuff someone see it by idea Sundowns. Sundowns on the house on a everyone intentions are cripple, I want to do this. So Kinana Rulani Mukwena, keep Hosia whenever you think a whole.
Okay. For time's sake, let me jump in. Thank you, Black Viper. Guys, can I ask a question? I'm gonna ask a hard question. Oh, not a hard question. Do we give Coach Rulani too much credit? And it's not to say what he did wasn't great or he didn't have a good team. Do we give him too much credit for the success of Sundowns, for the fear on Africa? And how much of this comes down to marketing? Or marketing, man. He was a genius, he was a this, he was a that. Meanwhile, 2 finals, he lost the 2 finals. He got knocked out of the calling knockout by TS Galaxy early. Yes, he almost went invincible, but Sundowns had done something similar before. He won the AFL, sure. It hasn't come back. Do we give him too much credit? And is it down to just us? Can we be honest and say we liked him? There's people that you like a lot. For example, look at Kaizer Chiefs. Ernst Middendorp right now just so happens to be the best league coach that we've had ever since we've won those leagues under Baxter. Ever since. We lost the league on the final day. But no one will say that he's good. We will rather point to an Atazwani who finished 5th. So are we putting our feelings, too much of our feelings into how we feel about these guys? Let me go to Gustavo. Gustavo, Ah, man, kidding, man. Hey, I saw you in the comments, kidding. But it's fine.
What was your question? They were to give Lana too much credit.
Yeah, mina ngibuza my comments, but you can jump in.
Yeah, without chowing time. There, I think yes, we're giving him too much credit. But whatever is achieved, it has not been, especially domestically.
Yeah.
You know, in the league, to be specific. And when you say we have almost went invisible before, you're incorrect, OT. We lost earlier on in the league. This was the first time we almost went invisible because we lost on the last game.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the difference. But
Okay.
yeah, we give the guy too much credit, but the credit is well deserved also. You know, did well for himself. What he achieved with Mamelodi Sundowns, it wasn't also down to marketing. He marketed himself because you look at where he is right now coaching. They wanted the guy. Crazy enough to say, whoever was auditioning for that role, why that, hey, let's leave you alone. There's a guy there who just lost his job, and this is the guy, is our guy. Our journalists love him. One, our fans love him. The crazy part, our fans even love the guy. So that's the problem. It's not just love locally, was loved also in Morocco. So it did that by himself. AFL did well. So whatever he achieved, it did it by himself with the help of the club and with the help of the players. You know, but that's Rulani for you. And what he did was create a bond between himself and the players, and which was beautiful to see. And he always took the heat for the players. No players took the heat even when he lost. He always took the heat. Journalists love him, but yeah. On the coach issue, Mick called it. Ambo Mick, most journalists, called it earlier on in July. That this is the guy Fleming back once.
Okay.
You know, this is the guy that Fleming back once. And here he is. We are seeing him here now with our new coach. And crazily enough, yeah, we are here for the future. And you are right also. Coach Mangoba was left there to hang himself. No, Fleming is a smart guy. Left. It was not a good moment to hire a foreign coach after Rulani left. So you leave a guy like Mangoba to take the reins, bring in a Steve, let the guy take the reins. So you leave the guy to hang himself. So that when full time ngisimane sinenhlamba.
Yekelani ngisi man.
But izinto mase ibheda for lo muntu lo kulula ukuthi simxoshe ngoba already fans are against him.
Yeah.
You know, players are against him. Not as management vele was never our guy, hence why announcement yakhe as the head coach was not as big. You know? So ubuka lezo zinto lezo ukuthi so if kuyabheda, it's easy for us to fire the guy without having any backlash. Most of the fans will not get angry because already zinto ziyabheda vele.
Can I ask you something? Lokocho Musha, is he also a lamb to the slaughter? Because there's a lot of questions that are going to be asked of him as the first coach following all of this. So he's the first coach stepping in after 12 years of Pitso's men. He's the first coach stepping in. Abo M Tiger Beko. Abo the scouting has changed. Technical director. Is he also a sacrificial lamb in terms of if Sundowns wants to get to the future? Someone has to take the first arrows and then later.
Yeah, it's a building phase. It's either he's the guy who's gonna be the first step, the second step, and the last step, or it's gonna be the guy who's gonna be the first step whereby if however it doesn't succeed, but the seed has been planted, so we can easily fire him and bring in the new guy. You know, but I don't like that ideology. But I believe this is the coach who has ideas. And when he was announced, I was not really hyped, you know, judging from how he played in the CAF against us. But he had to be tactical because we played a dominant football. So you have to be tactical in terms of you have to defend against Sundowns. That's how you play against Sundowns, in their dominance of the possession, in their dominance of how they've been playing throughout the year. So listening to him speak, he says he also believes in keeping the ball. You know, he says also believes in the press, which we've lost under Coach Mangoba. So some of the ideas that Coach Rulani believed in, this guy says he also believed in them. Because he did mention that in his coaching career, he didn't have the opportunity to do what he wanted to do because he always never had the resources. Hence why his stats are also bad. Never got to play his way football. But yeah.
For time, I'm going to have to just jump in there. Let me bring in Uti. Uti, we're not in the news, man.
Phakamisa inombolo. Ayi ngiyakutshela wena. Oti, let me greet you. Let me greet the guys who are watching the show. Guys, please tap the screen. Oti, Rome was not built in one day, guys.
Yeah.
But I always say this: Troy was destroyed in one night.
Yeah.
A Trojan horse. Ignited the Trojan horse, Oti. But he gift, he got he's almost. We all knew, man. We all knew Mangoba was not going to last, but it became as a shocking OT, whereby we cannot have a coach that was I wouldn't say he was best OT, man. He was part of the team. He was part of the group. Pitso, they've done a lot of great things together. Rulani, but unfortunately, OT, the football right now, after 20 years from now, what will we claim we have won when we're dominating? Look at the cups are lacking. Look at there are so many things that are lacking, OT, that you can't even begin to explain. And the sad part is, even right now, I don't trust the guy. I don't know him. I'm not gonna come in and act as if I know him. But there's a statement that was said by Fleming. We want a coach that's going to win everything, every competition. And I'm like, it's only coaching Pirates, And the funny part, there's this illusion I'm supporters Sundowns that they are not going to lose any game. It's impossible, Go overseas, watch Madrid. There's no way you're gonna play football and not gonna win every game. Why? Because there's 11 against 11. If my team plans better, if my players are more determined, they might outplay your players. It's clean. But the third part is, let's give him time. Let's not judge him. Let's not be too hasty. But one thing that I know about Sundowns, once they fire this guy, as I said before, they are going to go down. And it's a funny fact, now we should be giving Rulani. That guy put fear in my opponents Africa. I'm not gonna lie and say he was the best coach. One thing that I loved about him was that he said, I make mistakes and I learn. This guy don't figure you'll under my player, the first thing as well. And secondly, he's gonna make sure he takes control of his Sundowns. Zwane is not gonna play, that I promise you. Immediately after Zwane doesn't play, he's gonna bring his own players. Who Sales is gonna start playing now? Shalulile is gone. Forget about Shalulile. Sales is gonna play. Sales is gonna be missing chances. Sales is another Peminyama. And me, I'm happy as a Chiefs supporter because Vele, it's my prayer with Sundowns must fall. Oh,
Maratio, Kalokubuza, Maukulmango, Rulani. Was it again a situation of it looked great to the eye? South Africans, we have a higher thing of what we see is whether we know. And when somebody comes with something ugly, I mean, for example, if we're talking about fear in people's eyes and stuff like that, now Kevin Hunt, but you go final. Now Chiefs, if you go final. Out of the blue, out of nowhere. They did something that Rulani has not been able to do. No, I'm just asking. So, how do you look at that? Do you balance it good? Was now Kevin Hunt the best? Or was Rulani the best because but they ended at the same place?
One thing that we need to note, OT, that we must not run away from, Mokwena got improved because of what Rulani was doing with him. Williams, benching, Oneango, there are so many players, OT, Sundowns that we all know, guys, man. Let's be honest. Rulani, we love letter, guys, was not a story. There is a passion deep down there. They love letter had a reason. OT, that guy was able to win the dressing room. That guy was able to inspire the players. Just that Ahly costed them previously. And then in this previous game, our players OT were injured. Shalil was coming from injury. The team was not scoring. It's not like they were not creating chances. I believe Sundowns took a rash decision by getting rid of him. But I promise you, why I say that, they are going to lose more than 3 games in the next coming 10 games. I promise you. So we are like, put you connect group in the next coming 10 games, Sundowns is going to lose more than 3 games. And the guy is still going to continue coaching.
No, thank you. I mean, guys, I still look. I'm not saying Rulani was bad or good or whatever. Mara, I feel like we put so much on that team and him. And even when he was fired, I did say that he wasn't fired because of performance. We can all agree on that. Mara, the way we speak about that team, we speak about it as though, man, hey, I know, just to check, 2020, Sundowns lost one game. So I don't know if Google is wrong, but I believe that is almost invincible. Guys, if you want to join the WhatsApp group, there is a WhatsApp group. So there's an Overthinking Football WhatsApp group where there is no holds barred, where we go back and forth, shower my comments, kulume, hey, I'm a voice note, I'm a picture, and if you want to be part of that, incredible place to learn, incredible place to banter. It's just an incredible football community. On my YouTube channel, the Overthinking Football Show, on my YouTube channel, click on subscribe, click on join. When you join in the members area, there's a link that gets you into the WhatsApp group. That's where you'll find about Theo, our agent, Malume Kutso is about to speak now. There's a lot of people that you hear here, that you hear over here a lot that are over there. And there you can send a message at 2 a.m. and somebody will answer you. I kid you not. But anyway, guys, let me go to Uvusi. Vusi, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good in yourself, Oti.
Vusi mina ngimnandi mara Vusi uthini ngale ndaba ga Manqoba?
Yazi Oti ude late Cebo bekathanda ukuthini ritladula rithabile kadi nako tsohle. Oti yazi nginama question amaningi.
Yeah.
Sundowns hired a new coach, but before that, did Manqoba ask for Steve Komphela to come back?
Doesn't seem like it.
The current coach is did the Sundowns hire the current coach based on his style or based on Sundowns style?
I mean, I've got a better question. What is Sundowns style? And who is steering the style right now?
Sundowns style is piano and shoeshine, we all know.
Has it been piano and shoeshine?
It's been piano and shoeshine. That's why we call them the Brazilians.
Does Fleming know that?
I think he was told. I think he was told. But now, if he hired the coach based on his maybe his style, then the coach will fail. But if they hired the coach based on Sundowns style, I think the coach will make it.
Okay.
Now, the mandate of I hear people are crying about Manqoba, but Sundowns is not a team to win the league. Sundowns have won the league. What are they celebrating right now? They've won the league seven times in a row. Do you celebrate that? No. You sit down as management and say, but these guys, we've been with them and they've been winning this league. Do we want the league? Or is the bigger prize that we want? I think now they're focusing on the bigger prize and they say, let's refresh the bench and see if we can't bring that prize. And of which that prize is the Champions League. You can't buy. You can't tell me they went all the way to buy sellers with that amount just for the league. No, they know that if they want to focus on the league, they can focus on the league. And I'm telling you, without fear or favor, they will win the league. But for them, I think winning the league it's not an achievement anymore because they've already won. They've already won the league how many times? 7 times. So what they want now is the Champions League. Hence, they bring on the coach that has coached in Africa to say, yes, even if you don't do well in the Club World Cup, that's just an experience. But here is the mandate. The mandate. We want this trophy because we want the second star. We want to be the first team in South Africa to have 2 stars.
So then can I ask you, Mara, can I ask you, I mean, this coach, when you say he's coached in Africa, it's been since January to now. Is that enough to say that that is what they want to do fully and that's why they hired this man?
Yeah, I think they wanted someone, but I think when you go to the shop and buy something, you don't just target that one thing. I mean, you are an Arsenal fan. I'll make an example with Arsenal. Edu said it when he was still at Arsenal. He said, when we want who's this Caicedo, we had an eye on Declan Rice. If the Caicedo thing fails, and then we go for Declan Rice. So I think they had that options. Like I said, we're going for that coach, but if we don't get that coach, let's go for this one. I think that's a matter of having options. So I think, but their best candidate, they didn't get their best candidate, but as they went for the second option. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Pravusi, for time, Pravusi.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to jump in. Thank you for joining me. Let me go to Preston. Preston! Okay, we'll see if we can get Preston in. I think the mute button, my mute button now, Preston today. Malume Kuto. Hey, Malume Kuto, ki etaba man, barefataba at 2 p.m.
How are you, my brother, and the fellow panel? Good evening, all of you.
I think we've got Preston back. Preston, I think you're a little bit behind, but let's do this, Preston. I'm going to speak and I'm going to give you the time because you might be a little bit behind. How do you feel about this change?
Yes, my network is bad, yo. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear me? Hi, Preston. Hi, Preston. Hi, Preston. Shapa network, and we're going to hear Preston a little bit, I'm sure, as we go along. Malume Kuto.
Yeah, that was the right person to speak on the Sundowns matter.
Now, I wanted Preston so much, man.
The inventor of shoeshine and beer. Was it beer and shoeshine? Preston.
Malume Kuto.
Mr. Oti, I just want to first comment on how much we love football. We move from live to live speaking on football. Some people have spoken to already, and it's gonna sound like an omnibus to them. For me, it's twofold, Mr. Oti. In a sense, Oti. The first one would be, as you know, how much I love this South African black man rising to the top. You know.
Yeah.
How when I speak of Kaizer Chiefs, I see a young man who is from Soweto was able to build an institution that now has a village in the form of Kaizer Mdawu. When I speak of Irvin khoza, I speak of a man who has built a team that is for the people, and so much so that it somehow represents Ikasi. As formal as it is, Orlando Pirates represents Ikasi, Mr. Uti. You know, when you're a young boy, I'm sure now as a Chiefs fan, as a young boy, somehow you felt like, ish, I could break into the Pirates team. Even now, I know people in Matric are like, as Mingati, I could break into the Pirates team.
Yeah.
When you speak of Sundowns, you speak of an institution that over the past few years has proved that black coaches can do it. You know, it has proved that black excellence is possible in football. Through Coach Pitso, then Coach Mangoba, and then Coach Rulani. You know, which is beautiful, Mr. Uti. However, it just hit me that during that Ghana King positive contribution in Mamelodi Sundowns, let's not forget that they were betrayed. When Coach Pitso left, having been given that huge salary, I think it also influenced how they think as well. To say these coaches can leave. And as much as we want to be loyal to these coaches, they also have their personal ambitions. And the institution as Mamelodi Sundowns also has to have its own personal ambitions. You understand? And the ambitions have been clear. And I think they've been achieved. When Mr. Was it Dr. Motsepe, when he took over, he said he wanted to conquer Africa. Has he not done that? And if we look at his investment, Mr. Uti, into football, into Mamelodi Sundowns, when we look at it, we can say Ilona has failed. Our coaches and our players have failed to reciprocate the efforts of Dr. Motsepe. It's unfair after so much investment that they only have one Champions League title. Whether there's an own goal, whether there's whatever, it's really unfair after so much investment that they only have one Champions League title. And you ask, do we give too much credit for a 7-year dominance? And we quote 1 year and say this is why people are scared of Sundowns. That is ludicrous. Coach Rulani was in charge for a year, I think, or 2. And Sundowns has been a feared entity for I don't know how many years. They've been walloping Ahly 5. They beat Ahly 5-0, I'm sure 4 years back, if not 3. So the myth that Sundowns is feared because a certain coach was at the helm. Let's move away from it. You understand, Mr. Oti. Now, let's look at Project Mamelodi Sundowns as an institution, as I said, which is the second fold, to say they've conquered Pretoria and they've conquered the PSL to a point where they are on autopilot. We look at this season and we say this is a bad season for Mamelodi Sundowns, yet they've only lost...
Very good season for Pirates.
You understand? That is how solid their foundation is to building a solid African team. You look at their performance on the continent. Yes, it's short of trophies, but they're consistently up there, losing by margins. Now, what do? You try and do what you did in the PSL by getting the best coaches or best suitable coaches in the tournament that you're trying to win. And right now,
time is coming up.
The coach that eliminated them, give Miguel. So you go for Miguel. But you look at it also, you say Mamelodi Sundowns is building a global brand, Mr. OT. You see it through attracting Abo Allende, former Chilean captain, and I've expressed already how big Chile of a country is. They have such a player in the Arsenal. They have a player like Ribeiro in the Arsenal, which is beautiful, Mr. OT, for a South African team to have such players at the helm. So what's the next step? Go to the world stage, Mr. OT.
Yeah.
The world stage says, do you have a coach? I'm sure you've played FIFA where you want to sign a player and the player says...
I want to give you a little time.
And the player says, I don't believe in this coach. Now, with this coach, Mr. OT, who has coached the likes of Celta Vigo, the likes of Nates, and has eliminated the Mamelodi Sundowns that people fear and respect, you say, maybe I've got to buy into European players now.
Okay.
Maybe I've got to buy into the lion's share. Hey, Mr. Witty, as in but our phone.
Hey,
it's fine. Tatale time, Mr. Oti.
5.5 minutes, man. I gave it to you because you are a member, man. Now. Let me go to Prairie.
Hold up, how's it?
Man, right, man. Harry, tell me, how do you feel about this decision?
The decision to let Manova go was a correct one. My only reservation is I do think it was premature actually to just let him lead the team. If you checked, Sundowns never released a statement that Manova is a head coach. So that tells you that they doubted him from the beginning, but they allowed him to take charge of such a team that played 29 league games without losing last season.
Yeah.
So I think they would have just went through by looking for a head coach who was going to replace Rulani.
Yep.
But one thing that I always say is this thing of Champions League. When Sundowns won it in 2016, they had never played a semi-final all the way from 2001. And the 2016 tournament, they did not play it from the first game all the way to the final. They were beaten in the field of play. So to make it a deal breaker, it's sort of arrogant in my view. I mean, when Rulani came in and played 2 semi-finals back to back, that thing had never happened. So that was a huge progress. Well, of course, he did not do well in the domestic cups, but you look at how he lost them. When he lost the MTN 8, he dominated the final, almost won, but lost on the penalties. You look at the Nedbank, there were questionable decisions there. Modiba makes a penalty with his chest, something which I feel the referee, Rulani was undone by the referee there in my view. You went to those 2 finals that you lost. There's no need to change the coach. It's just to strengthen the squad. Is there any place where you strengthen the squad for you to move on? So I feel the chopping now should have come on the sporting director, because his recommendation to let go of Rulani was not correct, and the team is now not stable. So I think if they were to chop Mangoba, although he was not appointed anyway, so that decision, I don't have a problem with it, but the sporting director made a big error, and the team is now not stable because of him. Yeah, so that's my view. But
How do you hold the technical director accountable? Because it's been 2 years that Coach Fleming has been here. I believe he was appointed in 2022. How do you hold the technical director accountable? Or does Sundowns stand the risk of becoming like the rest of our clubs, where the technical directors are they don't get questioned, they do as they please? How does Sundowns make sure they don't fall into that trap?
You mean with the sporting director?
Yeah, with the sporting director, yeah.
Yeah, look, I think Sundowns must be honest with themselves. The sporting director is there to come and improve the team, to come and make sure that we are a big giant on the continent. But you can't be arrogant in that progress. I think that they're arrogant, they're looking for quick results. And you know, there's a saying that that says, don't let go of the bird in your hand for a springbok you are still going to chase, right? So the moment we now make winning the league and dominating it as if it's just something that just happens, and it's a big achievement because we won Champions League, we'll end up losing both, and will now be a normal team, right? Celebrate. Rulani set a new PSL record. Celebrate that. Make that a big achievement. He went to the semi-final. Work towards that. Don't try to get a new coach to come in and because you are looking to win the Champions League. I think they're just looking for microwave results. Of course, support the sporting director. Let him bring his experience in terms of recruitment and working with the technical team, but don't be arrogant about it. Celebrate the progress you made. You've never won the league with 72 points. Celebrate that. You've never played Champions League semi-finals back to back. Celebrate that. Work on that. Don't try to change the whole team looking for something that you might even never get and lose what you already have. Right now, Sundowns is not dominating like it used to, and it's a fact. With Rulani, they were dominating. The guy doesn't sleep. He was playing formations we've never seen before. He dominated the field of play. Sundowns was dominant, regardless of the opponent. You look at Sundowns now. I mean, Rulani lost 2 games in 90 minutes in the domestic games last season. You remove him, you put Mangoba in, and then he loses 2 games in the first 3.
But for time though, Prahir, I'm gonna have to jump in there for time. I wanna go to Ubelile Mtakababa.
Bafu.
Mtakababa man, Sundowns man, yeah, Chinchi show man. Tell me about how you feel about the decision, man. How beseng planile, but the press conference.
Nkosi yami. Wasinda kanjalo nje. Ngoba phela nangapha ngakwe kunzima ukuzwile nje ukuthi ukuzwile ukuthi uGavin Hunt uyiseke as a small team ku final ye CAF.
Hey, in 5 minutes, ama-minutes wakho aqalile velile. Uthi ngale ndaba bani ngiyekele.
Mtakababa yithi abantu. Eish. Yeah, what a sad news, yeah. You know it, sometimes we are rivals and then we like to discuss soccer and play. But kwesinye isikhathi nje kunezinye indaba ezithi masivela nje ayikho kuyafana lengizwe ubuhlungu kangaka. Singasho ukuthi shame umanqoba abantu uze wahamba namanje ama-support e-Sundowns angakwazi ukubiza igama lakhe ukuthi umanqoba mnqithi. So kuyiye into beyinkinga ngokuqala leyo osukutshengisa nje ukuthi bebabaxhasi. So nje isono njengoba bakasavela kodwa sizawuthini. I think i-Sundowns through you see they immediately introduced technical director eSouth Africa. You must know ukuthi ayisukile. Isukile bafo because manje mazama ukubuyela emuva sicabanga ukuthi uRulani waqoshelwane angeke sazi but kodwa amahemhem aqhamuka kuthiwa wayefuna ukuthi abe in charge for his own team including the recruitment, and then uFlemingberg was against that, and then wamfaka indlela so kwalanda uManqoba, of which manje yabonakala kahle kahle, which means uManqoba hayi bekungasi i-first choice yakhe. Umfakile lapha ngoba ubonile ukuthi mhlambe abantu bazolwa kakhulu uma ubhekile isimo ukuthi uManqoba kade afika lapha, I think 2012, since lapha since 2012, so already he was part of finisher Sundowns. It would be fair if uzoyaphuma nje langa that chance, but wafela wathi okay siyamnika, but you could see man ukuthi it just came with limitation, because it cannot happen if we are a coach, a South African coach who's been there for those players, but suddenly when they have to play for you, some of them are disgruntled, so we might never know what's behind that.
But also besides that, Velile, what type of power are you giving your coach? Because the players shouldn't be able to do that if your coach has backing, if that makes sense.
Ingakho ngithi asazi ukuthi what was behind that kulawo badlali beyenza lokho bekwenzayo. Kodwa indalo ngisakusathi ngiyazi indalo nemvelo. Sike saba nayo lenkinga nayo nathi lapha, kodwa indalo yakulungisa lokho. So ekuhambeni kwesikhathi bafowethu basePitoli bangakhali kakhulu, indalo izokulungisa lokho. Ngoba phela makunje kusho ukuthi this coach has to win Nedbank Cup, either CAF or league. If that's the standard, has to win those cup. Then which means if I win, then we are hamba, then it will be merry-go-round like that. Now and again, we're going back to the old years, Abu Neskens and Abu Angel Kapan, Abu Paul Doleza, Neltoven, Miguel Camonti, Bonke Labayana. So yeah. If they start at so there's someone who says and then they are playing with danger now, because they don't see the templates in terms of building a team from Upitso, because they allow Upitso to build a team. We knew it was bad. They allowed him to build a team, but now if they're going to come up with this mentality of chopping and changing and behaving like the other teams, Abu Madrid, Nabala, Ahly, and other ones who are just there for Nabo Chelsea, it won't work here, because we are not guaranteed to win all the cups. But if the standard is going to be the cups, then you are setting your team up for failure. I don't see it succeeding, especially if you're going to bring in a foreign coach in another country. And Uzubone Westing, when have we ever had a coach bring in 3 assistants? Like really?
Nativas, I can't speak.
Yeah, but what in that job, like I'm coach, I got to assistant feel got to interpret. Maybe holy money assistant coach interpret. Exactly like at them sons. Ask that lane of the party.
Yeah.
Ukhona umsebenzi ngale Kaizer Chiefs Bay. Ukhona umsebenzi.
Golden Arrows. Uyahamba ukhenyeza Golden Arrows.
Awuzawuthola lapha eChiefs Bay. Ayina coach mkhaya. Yamba uyafana ekhaya uzoba right. Baza finally igama lakhe ezakelibizo kahle igudle zokuxhumana kuthiwa uManqoba Mnqithi.
Manqoba. Thank you very much.
And futhi bangakhohlwa kabafowethu egroupini niyazi must this discussion agent will put it into a thesis, well-written document will be available on our WhatsApp group. Don't worry. That's why he's not here.
No, thank you, Velile. This is what I wanted to say. I'm going to close the show now. 9 o'clock, guys. 9 o'clock. Ulindo na is starting his show. That's at TTP. This is what I wanted to say. I'm glad that you guys, a lot of you have been on the show for a very long time, because a lot of the things we're discussing today, we discussed a while ago. I've got videos on YouTube where I've spoken about Sundowns was coming to a crossroad. They were at a crossroad. It's either you continue with what you have built from before. Coach Pitso's system that has given you Coach Rulani has given you Coach Manqoba. You'd need to bring somebody along for the ride as well for that one. I don't know if Coach Steve was looked at as that guy. And continue on with that lineage. But the problem with that lineage is that that's the coach telling the team what to do. Coach Pitso made it very clear, even with technical directors there, that guys, I run this team and I will make the decisions. I don't need a technical director. And that carried through to Coach Rulani. When we finally got to Coach Rulani, part of the reason allegedly was that he was fighting with the Coach Fleming and they made an ultimatum. Either you choose me or you choose Coach Fleming. Or you choose sporting director Fleming. Now, the crossroad also was coming from Fleming's side because you can understand what Fleming is doing. He's looking at Chairman Thope and he's saying, you brought me into this team to be a technical director and look after the future of the club. How can I look after the future of the club if I have somebody down there who has as big of a voice as I do and is wanting players and is wanting to do this and is wanting to do that? What is the point of me being there as a technical director? So at some point that was going to happen. On this show, when Rulani was fired or moved along, before that, we had chats about Rulani. And we said that Rulani was not moved along because of his performance. It wasn't performance that moved Coach Rulani on. He had done very well as a coach. But it was to do with the club having to clear space. What did I say the first day when they said Coach Mangoba's taking the job? Did I not say that this is another Kevin Johnson, number one, but also they're leaving you to hang yourself. And the reason why they're leaving you to hang yourself is very simple. Coach Mangoba is not loved. Guys, we had this conversation on the group. Do you remember we had this conversation on the group long time ago when I asked, and I remember Sundowns fans fighting me, I asked you guys, do you respect Coach Mangoba that way? Way before he was hired, because when his history is mentioned, you don't speak of Coach Mangoba in the history of Sundowns. The fact that Mamelodi Sundowns has a one-game season where they lost one game in a season, they have that season before. Nobody speaks about it. So when you take that man who has to you've already demoted him once in order to put in Rulani. Rulani was loved and all of that happened. Now you're taking that man and you're putting him in Front Street again. That's a plan to get him out. We said this here on the show. We had the conversation. That is the plan to get him out. Because Sundowns fans will not accept him. Guys, let's talk about his what he's done up to this point. Fine. He got knocked out of the MTN 8. You could argue that Coach Rulani got knocked out of the Carling Cup early by TS Galaxy. So maybe get Romo. He got knocked out of the final of the Carling Black Label. Fine, you could say it was Makesi, therefore it was so bad, all of that stuff. Cool. But Rulani got knocked out by Pirates. So Rulani lost 2 cup finals. Say what you will about Coach Mangoba at the point right now. He hadn't done that yet. Maybe if he gets there, you could argue. If you look at Africa, last season, Mamelodi Sundowns had 1 loss, a draw, and 4 wins in the group. Currently, they're sitting with no draws, no losses, 2 draws, and no wins as yet. We're still early in the group. How much different does that look to the table that Mamelodi Sundowns had when they lost to TP Mazembe, for example? So when we're saying that his performance is what pushed him out, was the performance, number 1 in the league, he's lost 1 game, he's scored more goals, I believe he's conceded the second least. So now you look at it and you go, at this point in the season. But what I will caution Mamelodi Sundowns with going forward, and this is just a caution, it's not the truth or it's going to happen or whatever. What I will caution you with is that you're going into very uncharted waters right now. In South Africa, we've had problems with technical directors. And we've had problems with technical directors because it comes down to the fans more than it is to the management. Technical directors tend to hide behind us not knowing what they do and us not caring and us looking at coaches. Flemingberg has been in that team since 2022. I've heard people say that the monies that were spent, how do you spend so much money and not win the league and not do whatever? Okay, who's spending the money? There was the part of the fight with Rulani was, hey dog, mina thengela amaplayer awufuna ukuwasebenzisa. Ucoach ufuna amaplayer wakhe, but the money is being spent. Where's Esquivel right now? You're about to lose M Tigers. Right? M Tigers, well, it's gone. M Tigers. The scouting of the team has changed completely. He's using transfer room. He likes transfer room most of the time. And he likes to be the guy who's in. He said it in a speech that he gave at the football thing, that he likes to be the guy that's in. He's holding it like this. So that man is holding your club like this. You guys better be ready and know how to hold him accountable, because there's going to be a lot of questions that come from there. You have lost your culture. This is the first time, guys, and these are truths. This is the first time Mamelodi Sundowns is going to go into a season or going to go into a coaching hire that has not been somebody that has been at the club for many years. That is a big difference. Very, very big difference. The technical director has 2 years of experience right now. You've just lost to Mangobo. It's been there since 2012. Well, since 2013, I think it was. You have lost to Rulani, who had also been there for a very long time. There was that part with Pirates, but there's a very long time. So now you are walking into a time where you have not done this as a club before. So please be very careful as to what you're walking into. Yes, we're talking about Mangoba, we're talking about Rulani, we're talking about all that stuff. Please be careful. The last thing I'm going to say is don't forget that Utlopi, you see, my theory, and I've said this before on the show, it's not the truth or whatever. My theory, there was a time when Utlopi said that he wanted to leave Mamelodi Sundowns. He had announced that he's going to go take care of family business, therefore he's stepping aside as chairperson. I don't think he was stepping aside. I think he was telling his father that, hey, fam, let me run this team fully. Can you give me the chance to run this team fully? Or else it's fine. I can go sit down somewhere. It's okay. And part of what has happened with Klopi coming back, Chairman Klopi coming back, is that I think he's trying to restructure Sundowns and make it the Sundowns of his own that is different to what his father had. And you're going to see a lot of moves. He's starting to make it more commercial. He's changing the structures. He's bringing about TD. You're now seeing foreign players, foreign coaches, foreign technical teams and all of that stuff. So I think this is another thing. It could be well-meaning in him trying to do that, but it could also be rooted in the fact that maybe he wants to be different to his father. And that also doesn't always play out well. But in any case, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m., we will be here speaking about everything that's happening in South African, and sometimes European football. If you want to watch any of the previous episodes or even this one, going to be available in full on YouTube. My thoughts about this thing, about a 21-minute video where I go into depth into what I feel. It's there on YouTube as well as my other content. Please support us content creators that come out and speak about these things and provide these platforms. It's not everywhere where you find these platforms. It's not a former coach. It's not a former player. It's not Thomas that's speaking to you here. You've heard 2 hours of people speaking. People, fans such as us, speaking about how we feel about a thing. There's not many places. So we need your help to keep these things up. So please like, share, comment, share, subscribe, follow. When we ask for contributions, I've got an account number in my profile. When we ask for contributions, contribute, guys, because we're not super sport. We are guys who really love football that are putting together these type of things. And we need your help in order to carry on doing this. If you have not followed, please follow. Monday to Thursday, 7 o'clock. But if Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, Bafana, Bafana are playing, I will be here. You know, we do watch-alongs where we do a similar thing. We watch the game together and you guys can jump in and we analyze in real time while it's happening. So that's also amazing. If you want more of me and more of everybody else, you can jump onto YouTube, click on subscribe, click on join. When you click on join, you get access to the members area. That is where you get the link to the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group is where that is fun because there's no 2-hour limits. We go off there and it's some of the greatest minds, whether it be in banter, whether it be in tactics, whether it be in the bigger picture, whether it be in finance and all of those things. We have such incredible conversations there. And like I said, there's no limit. There's no limit. So please join if you can and jump in and we can have a good time. Lindo Pep, he started his show. I believe he's got an emergency show as well as a Sandawana fan. So please jump on over that side and support the brothers. I also have another channel, 3-Man Press, where it's me, Lindo, and Football with Khalifang. We've come together, we've created a channel where we come together as 3 people and speak about everything that is happening in football. Please support that too. 3-Man Press on YouTube. Guys, it's been incredible. It's Overthinking Football Show, guys. It's been incredible. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Bye, everyone.